Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, my international friends, gathering around here with me as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all sorts of good things. It's Friday, which means I'm flying solo. I like to give everybody else the day off on Friday, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're starting early today. For those of you watching live, we're starting 1 hour earlier because there's a little Star Wars announcement coming in a bit. 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today, I'm going to be doing another live video stream so we can just talk about Star Wars and the new Star Wars trailer and all that kind of stuff. So all that is coming. So let's get into it. I wanted to share one thing with you. You know how when you're on Facebook, that every once in a while it brings up like memories? Hey, 3 years ago today, or 1 year ago today, or 8 years ago today. Well, I was on my Facebook today, and it brought up this thing of 4 years ago today. I did this panel. I was lucky enough to be the moderator for the Avengers Age of Ultron press panel. And that's me there with all the cast of the Avengers. In the bottom, you can see me right beside Scarlett Johansson and Joss Whedon. At the top, James Spader. The guy raising his hand, some of you have heard this story. The guy raising his hand in the top, that's Robert Downey Jr. What happened was, when we started off the press conference, and I was asking the first question, I directed the first question to Colby Smulders, who is, of course, Maria Hill in the movies. And Colby is a good Canadian kid. And she answered the question because, honestly, I wanted to start with her because I didn't think a lot of people were going to ask her a lot of questions. Not with Chris Evans up there and Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo and James Spader and Scarlett Johansson and on and on and on and on, all the cast. I honestly didn't think she was going to get asked a lot of questions. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to ask her the first question. So I asked her the first question. And then that shot where Robert Downey Jr. has his hand up, that was a little later. And it was the first time I went to Robert Downey Jr. because he had his hand up. So I go, Robert. And Robert Downey Jr. goes, I just wanted to say that the next time I'm not asked the first question, I'm walking the fuck out of here. It was hilarious. It was really fun. But anyway, one of the highlights of my professional career was doing that panel. It was a lot of fun. And now we got Avengers Endgame coming, which we're all excited about. Okay, guys, listen, got a lot of topics we need to get to today. We're going to try to fly through these as much as we can. Then we're going to get to some live questions. So let's get things started with our main topics. How do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? It's really rather simple. You see, you guys select our main topics by sending me your topics and questions to John at the John Campea. Well, actually, it's at www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Go to the website, www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Fill out the form there, hit submit, and maybe you'll see your topic or question as one of the main topics here on the John Campea Show. With that down, let's get on to our first main topic today. And our first main topic today comes to us from Mike. And Mike writes, hey, John. So Hellboy is projected to open domestically anywhere between 16.8 to 20 million opening weekend, which is lower than the original Del Toro films made in their opening weekends. In this day and age of comic book movies, how big of a disappointment is this for the movie if it doesn't hit higher numbers, especially since the reviews for the movie have been awful? Also, since you saw it last night, what are your thoughts? Thanks. All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yep, last night I went out and I watched Hellboy. What did I think of Hellboy? Well, here's the thing. Not as good as I'd hoped, but not as bad as everybody else made it out to be, in my opinion. Good movie? No. Here's the thing. It's a badly put together movie. It reminds me a little bit of Suicide Squad in a way, is that as you're watching it, it feels kind of like a little bit of a jarbled mess, which surprised me because Neil Marshall is a seasoned and experienced director. He knows how to put these films together. And it felt very disjointed and jarbled, but here's what it is. It's a poorly put together movie filled with some really cool scenes. Like whether it's Hellboy fighting giants or this or that, there's some really cool scenes. And I'll say this for it as well. David Harbour, great Hellboy. He's a great Hellboy. And I'll say this too. Hellboy looked, in all of his practical costume, Hellboy looked way better, I think, than the original, than even the Ron Perlman Hellboy looked. And Harbour played it great. I mean, if anything, the one thing I walked out of this movie with was that David Harbour was a great choice to play this role. He did a terrific job with it. I really loved him in the role. Movie starts strong, it's filled with some very cool things. It's like they sat around one night and said, let's come up with some really great scenes for our Hellboy movie. Now, they came up with a bunch of great scenes, but they couldn't think of a good way to connect it in a really nice flowing narrative story. And it just feels like a whole bunch of different cool scenes thrown in. And the cool scenes were enjoyable in and of themselves. I thought the dialogue was funny. I thought David Harbour's Hellboy was great. A lot of the action sequences I thought were very fun. Some questionable CGI, but you expect that from a slightly lower budget film like Hellboy is. And at the end of it, I went to go see it with my buddy Soul. And I walked out and I said, that wasn't terrible. It wasn't awful. And my friend Soul goes, it was completely worth the price of admission when you're an A-list member, which obviously means we got in for free. So he was saying it's worth a free admission. And I'll say that, yeah. I don't know that at the end of the day, I would recommend people pay money to go see Hellboy. But if you have A-list or a free pass or something like that, it's probably worth your time to check it out. Just because, like I said, there's a number of really cool things in the movie that I found myself in spots throughout the movie enjoying myself. Of course, there were also several spots where I was not enjoying myself, which is really too bad. Look, bottom line is this. Is it worth going to see? Again, if you have a movie pass membership, some kind of movie club membership, some free passes on hand, some gift cards or whatever, I'd say, yeah, go check it out. If not, I'd say this is one you might be able to wait for. It's one you might be able to wait for. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Now, getting around to how it's going to do domestically and financially. This is really unfortunate. This movie is going to flop, and it's going to flop hard. I mean, look, the reality is, as much as a lot of us fondly remember the old Hellboy movies, neither of the other Hellboy movies did all that great financially. They didn't do badly, but they didn't do all that great. And we forget that sometimes. This is opening even lower, and I'll tell you what. It's that first trailer. I've talked about this all the time. Everybody didn't know what the hell to make of that first trailer. It was not what anybody was expecting. It came with this Billy Idol, so that would be a very different trailer. Came out with this Billy Idol trailer, and everybody was just like, what the hell is this? And I think they lost a lot of people. And interest dropped, and even though they put out some great trailers after, I don't think they won back a lot of people. So you're seeing this opening weekend number that is even smaller than we thought it would. Look, nobody ever thought Hellboy was going to open to $100 million. But this is lower than even what they thought. And with the reviews coming out scathing it that much, I don't see it getting much legs. It may even open lower than 16 million. I'm not sure. I hope it does well. There's some cool things. This is funny to say about a movie I didn't love. I would like to see a sequel because there are enough. I feel kind of the same way about Hellboy as I felt about Underworld. Overall, not a great film, but they had elements there that I think they can really take advantage of. There were seeds of good things and good ideas and good concepts and good things they executed that I think if they built around those things and did a little bit better of a job, that a sequel could be really fun. So not a great movie, but I'd like to see it get a second one. But unfortunately, I think it's going to flop so hard that they're never going to get a chance. Anyway, did you guys have a chance to see Hellboy? What did you think about it? Jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. With that down and out of the way, let's move on to the second main topic today. And the second main topic today comes to us from Curtis Lopez, who writes, "What's up, John? Did you hear the recent announcement that Disney made about Disney Plus and its launch? By getting rid of the vault, it will launch with not only original content, but 500 movies from the Disney library, 7,000 episodes of Disney TV shows, and they even announced the name of the Scarlet Witch and Vision series. It's called WandaVision. What are your thoughts?" Yup. So here's the thing. We've been looking forward to Disney Plus. Not a lot of information. We've heard about several shows that were coming. Loki, Bucky and Falcon, Vision and Scarlet Witch. We talked about a Hawkeye series coming the other day. Well, they held their big announcement yesterday, and oh my God, are they coming out swinging? Here's a little look about what the Disney Plus interface will look like. A lot like a Hulu or a Netflix or an Amazon Prime, nothing. Now, it'll be broken into 5 main categories. So you get to the channel and you'll go Disney movies, Pixar movies, Marvel properties, Star Wars properties, and National Geographic, which is now owned by Disney because they bought it off of Fox. Or they bought Fox, I should say. So there made several major key announcements. Okay, here's some of the things that we've learned about the Disney Plus streaming services has everybody talking, all right? First of all, it launches on November 12th. We now have a launch date, at least in the United States. And we thought there was some speculation it might only be in the United States, like a CBS All Access, but it's going to be in a number of countries, so keep your eyes open for that. But anyway, it launches November 12th. And here's the other thing that got so many people talking. A lot of people thought it was going to be competitive with Netflix, so like $15 a month or something like that. It's launching at $7 per month, $6.99 a month. And even less if you buy 1 year up front. I think it's like $70 to buy 1 year up front. You save like $10 or something if you buy 1 year up front. $7 a month. On top of that, and this is huge, Simpsons has got 30 seasons of television. Disney Plus is now going to become the exclusive home of every episode of The Simpsons that there has ever been. I think that's a major thing. That is a huge thing. The only place you're going to be able to watch Simpsons from now on, at least the library, is going to be on Disney Plus. Also, they confirmed what we suspected. The Marvel stars will be in the Marvel TV series. So you are going to get Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany in WandaVision. You are going to get Tom Hiddleston in the Loki show. You are going to get like the actual characters and the actors from the movies in all the other series as well. So we suspected that. We thought that was the case anyway, but they did confirm that. So they're really upping their value there. Also, big news. The Mandalorian will launch with the launch of Disney Plus. The Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, is going to be available November 12th. That's when it's coming. The first moment this network launches, they're going to have this thing, and that's got a lot of people excited. I know a lot of people are going to sign up for the service just to watch The Mandalorian, so there you go. Also, they said something that a lot of people didn't know they were going to be able to pull off, but within a year of launch, it's going to have everything from the Star Wars library will be on Disney Plus. Now, it's going to launch with a lot of the Star Wars content already, but within 1 year of launch, they're going to have all of it. They're going to have all of it. And now another thing that's not on the list here is that they did confirm no ads, which we kind of suspected since it's a pay service, but there are a couple of pay services that still have small amounts of ads. They said Disney Plus will have no ads. November 12th, launch with The Mandalorian. All the Marvel shows that they've announced. The Simpsons moving over there. This huge library. National Geographic, which I think is a bigger deal than some people might think. All these categories of films. $7 per month. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, if they wanted to come out swinging, if the whole idea for Disney Plus was for them to come out full-fledged, 100% swinging for the fences, my God, they've done it. They have really done it. They have done something here that I think is ridiculously impressive. Something that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about. It kind of took over all the social media chatter yesterday amongst the entertainment circles. This thing is going to be huge. Now, we all suspected Disney Plus was going to be big. They're coming out strong, and they came out of the corner throwing a haymaker left directed right at Netflix's chin. Now, Netflix is still the biggest player on the block. Don't make any mistake about it. But I was incredibly impressed with this rundown. I mean, you're going to get all the Disney films, including all the Disney Vault. They're opening up the vault. All the Disney films are going to be on there. All the Pixar movies, all the Marvel movies, all the Star Wars movies. I mean, this is one with all the original series they have coming. They made a really impressive first showing, and what they really teed it off with was that price point. That price point, which, by the way, is roughly now half of the price point of Netflix. Now, a lot of skeptical people, and I understand, and I kind of share your skepticism, are like, oh yeah, $6.99 for now. But in like a year, it's going to be $21. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll go up to $7.99, whatever. But they are coming out of the gate at roughly half the price point of Netflix. So, man, it was an impressive announcement. What did you guys think about all this Disney Plus news? Has it made you more excited for it? Are you now planning on, yep, day one, I'm signing up for this thing? Or are you like, you know what? I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to wait for it to launch and wait for it to put some more original content. Then I'll think about it. Kind of like my approach to the DC streaming service or CBS All Access. What are you guys thinking about this thing right now? Jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right. With that down, let's move on to the third main topic today. And the third main topic today comes to us from Patreon supporter Lauren Plant, who writes, I had the thrill of being cast as an extra on the Batman v Superman movie in Detroit. I was a firefighter, and we shot at the set of the Wayne Tower destruction. We spent 2 days filming a number of scenes. One had me fighting off a TV cameraman and rescuing a woman from a smashed bus. It was awesome. None of it made the movie, including the Ultimate Edition and the DVD extras. In general, do studios ever keep unused scenes or release them somewhere? All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yes, this is a big thing. First of all, that is awesome that you got to have that experience. That is absolutely awesome that you got to have that experience being an extra. I've been an extra in a whole bunch of movies. Being on set's always a fun, even though kind of boring because you're just sitting around for a lot of hours, but it's always a fun experience when you get to do stuff like that. But a lot of times, wait a minute, where's that footage? We saw that they shot something. Why wasn't it in the movie? And then why wasn't it in the deleted scenes? Here's the reality of it. Movies shoot a lot of footage for a couple of reasons. One is sometimes there's more on the page than that makes it in the movie, but often because when you're assembling the movie in the edit room, you want to give the director and you want to give the filmmakers and the directors want to give themselves options. So they'll shoot a lot of stuff that will never be used, but they need to have that material available to them when they're in the editing room. Because here's the thing, once the production is wrapped and everybody's gone home, it's too late at that point. If you're like, damn, I wish we had a shot of this for this scene, too late. Your 300 crew members have already moved on to their next jobs. The cast is already off doing their next gigs. It's too late. So what the studios and the filmmakers will often do is they'll just film a lot of stuff. They'll film a lot of what they call coverage. They'll film a lot of things from different angles. They'll put some what could be potentially B-roll stuff and even different scenes with the lead actors. They'll shoot a lot of stuff that ultimately never gets used. Sometimes it's just individual shots. Sometimes it's full scenes. But there's so much of it that a lot of it never does make it into the movie, nor would they make it into the deleted scene stuff because it's not significant enough to put in as a deleted scene. So yes, as a matter of fact, a lot of movies do shoot a lot of footage that don't get in. Like I've shot stuff in movies before in scenes that never made it in the movies, and they're not on deleted scenes either because they're not significant enough to be deleted scenes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they do shoot a lot of stuff, and it's not surprising. But still, man, that's pretty cool that you got to have that experience on that movie set, and that's something you can have with you forever. All right, let's move on now to the fourth main topic today. And the fourth main topic today comes to us from Yanis P, who writes, Hey, John, I'm both a big fan of Game of Thrones and of Titans. Have you watched it yet? As a matter of fact, I have watched it. Anyway, so imagine my joy when I read today that Game of Thrones star Iain Glen is going to be playing Bruce Wayne in season 2. I love this casting, and I think he'll be perfect for the role. What do you think of the choice? Cheers. All right, yes, for those of you who have not heard, Game of Thrones, the ultimate friend zone dude, Jorah the Explorer. He's going to be in Titans season 2 as Batman / Bruce Wayne. I have recently finally got around to watching Titans. Not all that impressed. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think Titans was all that bad because it looked horrible. To me, it looked like garbage. And it wasn't all that bad. It has some upside. Will I ever go back and watch season 1 again? No. It was all right. It was all right at best. But one of the big strong points of season 1 to me was the relationship as told through Dick Grayson, the relationship between Dick and Bruce. I thought that's actually the most fascinating thing about the Richard Grayson character in comics and whatever, is that the dynamic between their relationship, Dick and Bruce. That's great. And they capture that, the complexity of it, whatever. I thought they captured that in Titans. And I think that's the thing Titans did the best. Out of all the things they did, that's the thing they accomplished the best. And that's why, to me, it's an okay show. Not great. I didn't find much of anything else in the show worked, to be quite frank with you, but that's just my opinion. Doom Patrol is another story. You guys got me turned on to Doom Patrol that I wasn't even going to bother watching. I'm so glad. I'm loving Doom Patrol. I don't know why, but I'm loving Doom Patrol. But anyway, we're here to talk about Batman and Jorah the Explorer. Okay, so Jorah is going to play Batman Bruce Wayne. Is this somebody that I would have ever guessed? Like, if you gave me 50 guesses, would I have ever said Ian Glen's name? No, I wouldn't have. But then you mention him, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm on board. Because Bruce would have to be a certain age at this point, because Dick's like grown up, he's a cop, he's all like, so, I mean, Bruce has got to be a certain age at this point. This guy's got that rugged, grizzled, kind of war-weary kind of persona and presence about him that I think is a great choice for Bruce Wayne. Now, I would have been happy with a lot of different actors you could have picked to play this role, but him being one of them, I think is fantastic. It's also a good PR thing. We got Game of Thrones coming out with its final season, to make an announcement right now like that you got a Game of Thrones cast member coming. That's a good PR move too. But just overall, the dude's a good actor. I still remember him from Tomb Raider anyway, and he was in Downton Abbey as well, by the way. But anyway, I think he brings a great presence for Bruce Wayne. And I'm really looking forward to seeing, because I'll probably watch Titan Season 2, even though I wasn't a huge fan of Season 1. I'll watch Season 2. And the thing I'm going to be looking forward to is the dynamic between Dick and him. Now, as far as I understand, it's not going to be a big role. From what I understand, I think he's going to be in like 3 episodes, maybe 3. So it's not like he's going to become a main character in the show. He's not. They're going to keep the attention of the show on the Titans. Fine. But I will be looking forward to seeing the scenes that he gets to be in there, because honestly, I think it's a pretty decent choice. And now this Sunday, we get to see Jorah the Explorer continuing to have his romantic interest shunned by Dany on Game of Thrones as the season or series finale begins this Sunday night. Anyway, all right, what do you guys think of the selection of this guy's Glen as Bruce Wayne / Batman in Titan Season 2? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, final main topic today. And our final main topic today comes to us from Gregg Lip, who writes, I read an interesting article today on Variety calling into question whether Avengers Endgame can actually break the opening weekend box office record. The basic idea of the article is that with a 3-hour runtime, there simply may not be enough screenings of the film opening weekend to break the record. So, my question is this true? With all the pre-sales records, it seems silly that it couldn't break the opening weekend record. What do you think? All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. Appreciate it. And yeah, that's been a pretty big topic of conversation lately. How big will the opening weekend be for Avengers Endgame? Now, the article that he's talking about specifically is from Variety. That is asking the question, like, some people are talking about 300 million. This article's asking, can it even break the record of 250 million? Here's the funny thing. I told you guys this before, and I totally believe it now. If Avengers Endgame, say, makes $245 million opening weekend, second biggest opening weekend in the history of cinema, there are going to be brain dead idiots out there going, oh, it failed. Why did it fail? Why did it underperform? Second biggest opening weekend in the history of film. And they're going to be idiots out there going, why did it underperform? $245 million. And they're going to go, oh, well, that's it. Comic book movie fatigue. Do you remember when Avengers Age of Ultron came out? It opening weekend made less than the first Avengers movie did opening weekend, but it was still one of the biggest opening weekends in history. But of course, all the boo birds came out and they're like, oh, that means that comic book movie fatigue, people don't care about comic book movies anymore. And that's what happened. Obviously, they were dead wrong. So I'm already giggling and getting mad in advance that if, for whatever reason, Endgame doesn't break the opening weekend box office record, but still has a momentously huge opening, there are going to be people going, oh, comic book movie fatigue. It failed. Why did it fail? Why did it underperform? It's just, that type of idiocy just makes me frustrated. But with all the advanced ticket sales records and all that kind of stuff, why would something like a Variety suggest that maybe there's a possibility this movie can't break the opening weekend record, let alone 300 million? Well, there are some good reasons for it to ask that question. Personally, just to be clear, yeah, I believe Endgame is going to break the opening weekend record. I believe Avengers Endgame will beat the opening weekend record. Let's be clear about that. But it's not insane for somebody to call it into question, because there's a few things that we should keep in mind when thinking about Endgame breaking the record. Here's some of the challenges it needs to face, and it's just about math, all right? It's just about math. Here it is. Now, Variety did a breakdown of this, and they showed how at a 3-hour runtime, that means on average, each screen that Avengers Endgame is going to play on will have one less screening per day that it can have. That's significant. Now, because Infinity War, when it opened on it was one of the widest released movies of all time. It opened on nearly 4,500 screens. Now, follow that up. That means if it opens in the same amount of theaters, which is one of the biggest wide releases of all times, that means if there's one less screening per screen because of the 3-hour runtime, that means Endgame, if we go right here, Endgame will have at least 4,500 less screenings on opening weekend than Infinity War did. Think about that. At 3 hours, that's an average of one less screening per screen. At 4,500 screens, that means Endgame, theoretically speaking, will have 4,500 less potential screenings than Infinity War did. Now continue following that logic. We go down here. Now the average seating capacity for a movie theater in America is 250 seats. Some are much bigger, some are smaller, but the average is 250 seats per theater. Now, if you have 4,500 fewer screenings at 250 seats on average per theater, that means there's going to be 1,125,000 fewer tickets available for people to watch Endgame on its opening weekend than were available for people to watch Infinity War on their opening weekend. The average ticket cost in America is around $10. So now you're looking at $11 million of box office less that's available to Endgame to make than was available to Infinity War. Now, with all this being said, and this is good math that Variety laid out. It's good math. You do also have to take into consideration some extenuating circumstances. Even though Infinity War played on just about every screen in every theater and they ran 24 hours, like blah, 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 you do have the possibility that maybe Endgame gets on even more screens than Infinity War did. That would help compensate those 1,125,000 fewer available tickets if you added more screens. The problem with more screens is theaters will be hesitant to add it to more screens because with Disney films, when you put a movie on a screen, you got to make a commitment to keep it on that screen for at least a full week or a week or two. And like some of these movie theaters were like, I'd love to have it for one day, but I can't take up this screen for an entire week or two. I've already got it on 10 of my other screens. You know what I'm saying? So you can add more screens. That can help mitigate that. There's a slight inflation between last year to now. Not much, barrel. It's a few pennies, but still, that'll mitigate it as well. Now, I believe that even in light of all this, I still believe Endgame is going to break the opening weekend box office record. I still believe that. But it's because of numbers like this. 4,500 less screenings. 1 million fewer seats available for people to go see, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. It's for reasons like this that make me have, I'd say, some doubts that it can get to this 300 million number that a lot of people say. There are some projection numbers that say the movie's going to make between 220 and 250 million. Some projections are saying between 250 and 280. I see it coming in there, 250, 280. I just don't see it getting to 300 million. Only because of the math. I just don't see enough seats available, but maybe it does. But I do absolutely see it breaking that opening weekend record. But again, I'm just here to say and lay out this information because don't just assume somebody's crazy if they have doubts that it'll break the record, because there is some solid math behind having that train of thought. I don't agree with the train of thought, but it's not an insane train of thought when you actually break down and look at the raw numbers. So I think that's just something for all of us to keep in mind as we're looking at this stuff, because at 3 hours, that does represent, it's not about whether or not people want to go see a 3-hour movie. It's about the logistics of, at 3 hours, how many screenings can you actually fit in? And that becomes the question. So I'm pegging this thing to come in around 270 is my guess. I think it's going to break the record, probably break it pretty comfortably, but I still don't think it's going to get to 300 million. But hey, who knows? We've seen strays. I think 300 is a possibility. I don't think it's likely, but I do think it's a possibility when we're looking at the type of numbers that we are right now. And I'm thinking this is going to be the new number 2 movie all time worldwide. I think it's going to pass. I think it's going to pass Avengers Infinity War. I think it's going to pass Star Wars The Force Awakens. And I think it's going to pass Titanic. I don't think it's going to get anywhere close to Avatar, but I think we're looking in Avengers Endgame, the new total worldwide number 2 film of all time. So how that'll all play out, we'll find out soon enough. We're getting close to the actual release date. Anyway, guys, there you go. That will do it for our main topics today. Now, we've got about 20 minutes left here. I want to go over and take some live questions, and then we're going to have to cut it a little bit short today. We're going to keep today's show to about an hour because, again, there's that little Star Wars presentation going on at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget, at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be doing a Star Wars panel and Star Wars trailer breakdown and open discussion here on my YouTube channel. Make sure you come back for that. All right, let's get over and start taking in some live questions right now, guys. We're going to start things off with Jeff Mullins, who writes, if Endgame is great, are the Russos the best comic book directors of all time? No, because, and they're great. I love me, the Russos. Everybody knows I love the Russo brothers, but no. And for the one big reason is this. The Russo brothers, they were the beneficiaries, and they'll be the first ones to tell you this. The Russo brothers have said this. The Russo brothers were the beneficiaries of being able to come in and build on build on a foundation that other people laid. You know, Christopher Nolan, he came in and he had to build his world from scratch when he did his Batman films. And he had one comic book character available to him, Batman. One superhero available to him, Batman. That's who he had. And he built the entire world. He built the foundation. He gave us the background story. He did all that building, and he gave us his Batman trilogy. What the Russo brothers has done is incredibly impressive, absolutely. But, like I said, they'll be the first ones to tell you that they just got to come in and build on foundation that other people made. They got to come in and build on the foundation that Joss Whedon laid with what I still believe is the greatest comic book movie of all time, The Avengers. Like, that really solidified what the MCU was, the Avengers. And then, of course, Age of Ultron. Who in turn built on the groundwork that was laid by Jon Favreau in Iron Man and stuff like that, which is all predicated on the overall guiding genius of Kevin Feige, who's truly the overseer of all this stuff and the guiding hand of all the MCU. So, while I believe the Russos have done a phenomenal job, absolutely phenomenal job, a lot of that success is due to other filmmakers that have built that world. And therefore, I would still tip the cap that the greatest directing job ever done in comic book films is still Christopher Nolan. And I love the Russo brothers films. You know this. But no, I wouldn't say they're the best comic book directors of all time. I maybe would put them third, because I think what Joss Whedon did in starting Avengers and doing the first Avengers movie in that world he built, I think that was an even more impressive feat. And then the Russos and others have got to build on top of that. So yeah, I'm going to go Christopher Nolan. I might even still put Joss Whedon above them as well, but they're up there. They're absolutely up there. Zachary Buckler writes, a month ago, if you had told me that Missing Link might be the better movie opening this weekend, I'd have called you crazy. Not so much now. I've never had much doubt that it would be a good movie because of the studio. I mean, look, it's Leica. I mean, they make good movies. It's just nothing that has my attention, and the trailers haven't appealed to me. So I think it's rocking like an 88% of Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is pretty good. But I'm still not interested in seeing it just because the trailers didn't work for me. And I don't think it's going to do well at the box office. But hey, most important thing is it looks like it's a pretty good movie. Murray Reich writes, go to originalcarpool.com. They have the Avengers Endgame portable toilet. What? Oh, second. They have the original Avengers Endgame. Where did it go? Portable toilet, a nozzle to affix to your area, and you can use it to pee into a bottle. That right there is some God-blessed innovation right there. That's a tool needed for today more than ever before, Murray. Thank you for pointing that out. Mike Hill writes, over under 30%. Hulk only appears in third act of Endgame. I'll take the over 30% on that. I wouldn't take over 70%, but 30% is a good low number. I'll take the over 30% on that. Paul M writes, do you raise the armrest between you when on, it should say, hold on a second here. I got to get this in a little bit more. Do you raise your armrest when on a date? My wife and I get sad when we go to a theater where the armrests don't move, #cuddle. No, I actually leave the armrest down because we both like putting our arms on that together and holding hands on the armrest. That's how we like sitting. So even if we get into a theater and the armrest is up, we put it down so we can together put our arms on that armrest and hold hands. So that's just how we approach it. But that's you, smoothie romantic, Paul. You're a romantic dude. I appreciate that. Dirk Walker writes, I'm more excited for Disney Plus than I am for Endgame. Don't laugh, man. It's kind of close. When you're thinking about this home service we're about to get with Mandalorian, all these Marvel shows, all the Star Wars content, all the Pixar library, all the Disney Vault, it's hard not to get excited about it, right? And then, of course, we're talking about 30 seasons of The Simpsons. Say what you want about... I love this graphic, by the way. This graphic is gold. Say you want about where The Simpsons is right now. The Simpsons is some of the greatest TV ever. So you got that on there too. There's a lot to be excited now, but I'm still personally a little bit more excited for Endgame, but it's close competition right now. Jinyu Hichi writes, I really wish I knew what Oracle Schnepp would predict for Endgame and Star Wars. He always was the closest. R.I.P. Sweaty Lord. I mean, you know, Robert and I were talking about this the other day because Robert got to go see Infinity War with Schnepp. Him and Schnepp went to go see Infinity War together. And, you know, Robert and I were talking the other day and you know, he was feeling it a little bit that, you know, very excited about we get to go see the next one, but it's going to remind, I think, all of us a lot about Schnepp being gone. But the one thing also we often joke about, Schnepp was actually one of the worst box office predictors ever. Here's the thing about Schnepp, though. Everybody only ever remembered when one of his far-flung ridiculous picks actually hit. And it hit a couple of times. But for every one that he was right, he was wrong about 7 or 8 of the times. And he used to say this all the time. He used to joke about this constantly. Schnepp did. But he would make these outrageous box office predictions for movies that were never going to get close to that and never did. But we all forgot about those. But it's when he made an outrageous prediction for one and it hit that all of a sudden he became the Oracle. And he used to joke about that all the time. But it's when movies like this, I remember particularly when I came out of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. For whatever reason, that was a movie to me that I thought Schnepp would have loved. Like, I mean, he'll love all this stuff, yeah, but there was something about Into the Spider-Verse that I was just watching and I thought, this movie was tailor-made for John Schnepp. He would have loved this movie. And I remember when I walked out of it, the very first thing I walked out of the theater, pulled out my phone, got on social media, and the very first thing I posted was, just saw Spider-Man the Spider-Verse. Schnepp would have loved this. He would have loved that movie. And yeah, as we're heading into Endgame, especially for somebody like Robert who saw Infinity War with Schnepp, it's going to be bittersweet. I think it's going to be a little bit bittersweet. It absolutely will be. Dirk Walker writes, I think MCU shows will really change the game. Maybe. I'll be honest with you. I'm excited about them, but I'm also a little bit, is this too much? There's a part of me that's wondering, is this too much? Don't get me wrong. I love that they're doing it, and I'm very excited for it. But a part of me wonders, is it too much? We will find out soon. Jinyu Hichi writes, do you feel D Plus or Disney Plus will outshine Hulu and Netflix? Well, remember, Hulu is also now controlled by Disney. Disney isn't the only owner of Hulu, but they have a controlling interest in it now that they have Fox. So I think Disney's going to put a lot of stuff on Hulu. I think they're going to put some very cool stuff on Hulu. For instance, I think Deadpool isn't going to be on Disney Plus. I don't think Deadpool or Deadpool 2 will be on Disney Plus. I think you'll probably see it on Hulu. I do. At this point, yeah, I think Disney Plus will outshine Netflix. At this point. We'll see but let's not forget, Netflix is still the big boy on the block. Disney is the up-and-comer. Netflix is still the established big man on the block. Let's see how that all kind of shakes out. Caleb Kaiser writes, of all the live-action movies been putting out, the one I want most is Meet the Robinsons? Really? What do you think? Man, that was, what was that, like 2006? 2007? Oh, I don't think much of it. To me, that movie, I remember very little about it except that it made no impression on me. But that's the beautiful thing about movies, Caleb, is that they're subjective and they all hit us in different ways. Clearly, that was a movie that hit you in a certain way. I'm glad it worked, but that movie was not very successful. I personally didn't think it was all that good, if I'm remembering it correctly. But hey, you love it. That's all that matters, man. All right, Bruno Y writes, hey there, guys. Big fan from Brazil. Oh, thanks, Bruno. Thanks for writing in. Just wondering if you like David Lynch's work and what would be some of your favorite from him. Also, I hope Twin Peaks gets renewed for another season. You know what's funny? First of all, yes, big fan of David Lynch, as I think just about everybody is. Here's the interesting thing, though. I never got into Twin Peaks. It's strange. For whatever reason, I just never got into it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying I think it's bad. Not at all. I'm saying I never got into it. I think I've watched like one episode of Twin Peaks in my life, which is crazy. And that includes the original series and the Redux, which is crazy because a lot of people in my life love that show, man. Both iterations. Like, people I know love that show, and it was never one I got into. That is one that one of these days, Bruno, I got to sit down and just bury my nose in it and get into it and see if I can catch whatever it is everybody else caught with it and see what I think about it. And I'll let you guys know once I do. Jinyu Hichi writes, which Infinity Stone would you want over the others? It's either power, space, or time. Power for obvious reasons. Space, I mean, the ability to teleport. Time can get fickle. I'll say space, the Space Stone. Mr. 47 writes, bring back Coulson, Sif, and the kid from MI3. Here's the thing. There is so much going on in the MCU that do you have time to bring everybody back? And now at some point they're going to bring in X-Men characters, Fantastic Four characters, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there are a lot of characters that have been kind of left along the way. It was nice seeing Coulson and Captain Marvel. And Mal Bajpai writes, apparently 2 Marvel films, maybe 3, and 3 Disney Plus series in 2020. Just a year. Wow. I would like a 90s Nick Fury cop series. That would be interesting. I don't know that you could get Samuel Jackson on board for that, but that would be kind of interesting. Yeah, and honestly, I don't even know that you have to digitally de-age him too much because it doesn't look like they digitally de-aged him much at all for Captain Marvel. Anthony R. writes, In my group of friends, I'm the only organized one, so I have everyone's A-list info. That's funny. Logging in and out for each person to get Endgame tickets. What is annoying, but worth it. What me and my friends do, Anthony, like for what me and my buddy Soul did last night, what me and Ann have to do, is like me and Soul went to go see Hellboy last night. So a couple days ago, we coordinated on the phone. It's like, okay, I'm looking at the seat 7 o'clock show. I'm going to get seat H18. All right, I'm going to get seat H17. Great. Okay, ready and engage. Click, and we get... So we've done that a few times with friends. I just think for Endgame and stuff like that, that the amount of time it would take to log out, log back in, re-enter somebody's information, because it's like 12 digits long, you run the risk of losing those seats. So that seems risky. I'm glad you were able to pull it off, Anthony, but I totally know what you mean, dude. I feel like none of my friends know how to organize something, and it's always up to me to be the one to coordinate and organize everything. Honestly, it gets a little bit frustrating sometimes. But I feel you, Anthony. I totally feel you. And kudos to you for your dedication to get those seats all together for you and your A-list friends. That's great. Jinyu Hitchi writes, only got about 10 minutes left here, guys. Jinyu Hitchi writes, what is your thoughts, opinions of Kevin Smith? I love Kevin Smith. Is he the greatest filmmaker of all time? No, but I think he's a wonderful voice in the industry. He's one of the best storytellers. Like him just on stage telling stories is magnetic. I love it. And I think he's a true fan. I love Kevin Smith. I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith. Jerome Smith II writes, who knew less than 10 years ago we'd be making life decisions on which streaming service we were going to pay for, or what it would be streaming, or it would be a streaming war. Hashtag wow. I know, it's crazy. But we are now in what they warned us about, though. You know, we all dreamed of a day where it would be a la carte streaming options, blah, blah, so we could get rid of expensive, stupid cable. And I got rid of cable almost a decade ago. But one of the things they warned us about is coming to fruition. They say, you know, at some point, you're going to be spending more money on that than you were on cable. And you know what? We're getting damn close. Because between ESPN Plus, between Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, CBS All Access, the DC streaming service, Disney Plus here pretty soon. What else do I got? HBO Now, Showtime. I am probably spending more. I am probably now, once Disney Plus comes out, I'm probably spending more now than I ever did on cable. Which is dumb. But one of the great things, by the way, we didn't mention this before, because I get ESPN Plus because I like watching the UFC stuff they have on there, and Hulu. Disney said they're going to do a bundle package where for a lower price, you can get Disney Plus and Hulu and ESPN Plus. Love it. Love it. Anything to help bring the prices down for me would be great. Paul M. writes, ever plan on doing another episode with your wife? I'd be really interested to learn about the toy side of the movie industry, plus great chemistry. Yeah, the problem is, of course, when I do my show, my wife's at work. So that's difficult. But I can tell you this, Game of Thrones, Anne and myself and Kaori are going to be doing Game of Thrones recaps after each episode. So about a half hour after each new episode ends, all 6 episodes, me, Ann, and Corey will do a live open spoiler discussion of each episode of Game of Thrones. So Ann's going to be doing that with me. So obviously we're going to be doing that this Sunday night. Keep your eyes open for that. All right, Enmal writes, why everyone say Cap will die? I love Cap. I don't want him to go. Hopefully we'll see old man Tony Stark and Steve Rogers films one day like Logan. I think a lot of people feel like he might die because this is, at least for now, the last film that Chris Evans has on his contract for it. I believe he's coming back. So I don't think they're going to kill Captain America. I think he'll leave. But and Chris Evans isn't going to do another Marvel film for a while, but I 100% believe Chris Evans is going to come back at some point. But yeah, there's a good chance they kill him off. I don't think they will, but there's a good chance they do. But even if they do, it won't be permanent. He'll be back. He'll be back at some point. Don't you worry about that. Emal then follows up. Do you think MCU Spidey films will be on Disney Plus? Ooh, I don't know if they can, because technically speaking, those belong to Sony. So I don't know if they can. So look, bottom line, I don't know the answer. I'm guessing no. That's just a guess though. They might have made an arrangement, but I'm going to guess no. Rodrigo Ortiz writes, companion video for Wednesday show coming. It's up, dude. It's been up for days. It went up on Wednesday night. Go check it out. Go onto my YouTube channel. Go to my main YouTube channel page. Go down to companion videos. You'll see the show for Wednesday went up on Wednesday night, so go double check that. Hector Jeter writes, got excited hearing all the Disney Plus content. Me too. And when they said it's launching November 12th, and the price point is the part that really gets me, and that The Mandalorian will launch with the service, dude, I got goosebumps. About it. J Meister 25 writes, over under 28%. We see Mr. Blue in the MCU again. From Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I'm forgetting the name of the actor again, but he was starting to turn into not Mastermind. What? I keep forgetting the name of the character he was turning. The last time we saw him, Bruce's blood concoction was dripping on him, and his head started to expand, and all that kind of stuff. Why am I forgetting the name of the character he was turning into? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see him again. I do think there's a possibility we see Abomination again. They've kept him around. So I think we see Abomination again. I don't think we're going to see Mr. Blue again. Hector Jeter writes, finally catching your morning show live. Glad you could be here, Hector. Plus Star Wars news today. Big day. Great day of a morning. Have a great day, John. Yep, we're going to be cutting out of here in about 5-10 minutes here, so we can all go and watch the big Star Wars panel being streamed from Star Wars Celebration. They're going to show the first trailer for Star Wars Episode 9. Then at 10:30 a.m. this morning, guys, make sure you all come back. We're going to have a big open discussion about the Star Wars trailer and all the Star Wars news we find out. Okay, Ant Banks 1984 writes, I know this is old, but I'm not tech savvy. From a tech standpoint, what could have AMC done to prevent the problems they had with Endgame pre-sales? Well, I'm not an IT expert, but when you look at something like YouTube, that handles billions of requests an hour. Billions of incoming requests an hour. The IT structure does exist to handle that type of load and to handle that type of traffic. AMC, all these other places, they knew this was coming and they did not prepare properly. The technology is there. All they have to do is implement it. It's probably expensive. I acknowledge that. It's probably expensive. But I'm not the IT expert, but clearly the technology is there to handle that sort of traffic demand load. You just look at YouTube, which is 10 times bigger and handles 10 times the traffic that AMC did for their ticket rush when Avengers Endgame tickets went on sale. The technology's there. They just chose not to implement it, and they dropped the ball. Ben Rayner writes, Disney Plus just won the streaming wars, I think. I am so signing up for this. Great deal too. MCU, Star Wars, and Disney and Simpsons seasons 1 through 30, all for $6.99. I don't know, Ben, though, that, first of all, it's very impressive. I don't know if we should be proclaiming a winner at this point. In a world where we don't know, what if Mandalorian sucks? What if these MCU shows that they do suck and they're just poor man's versions of the movies? And what if all this, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, I think it's a little early to be proclaiming a winner when this thing hasn't even launched yet. It was an impressive announcement. I'm excited about it. A lot of people are excited about it, but let's hold our horses a little bit on proclaiming a winner right now. Ant Banks 1984 writes, I never thought my grandpa's old urinal he kept by his bedside would come in handy until I saw the runtime for Endgame. Not cry time, pee time. I'm not leaving my seat. Just kidding. I mean, I'm serious. Look, it sounds like a joke. I believe there are going to be movie theaters across America where there are going to be complaints from people that some dude whipped out his dick and started peeing into an empty Pepsi bottle. I think it's going to happen. There are going to be people that simply refuse to get out of their seats and to miss a single minute of the movie, and they're going to have bladders explode. There's going to be health problems. They're going to be pissing on the seats. I believe, not in every theater, but I believe we're going to hear at least a couple of stories across the internet about stuff like that happening. So if you got that urinal or a catheter, bring it along. All right, Ben, just a couple more here. Ben C. writes, I swear, if Robert shaves his head, he'll look very close to Varys' likeness from Game of Thrones. Dude, I have said that before. I swear to God, I have said that before. I completely believe that. Him and his little sparrow, his little Burgess. Oh my God. I totally see it too. I really think he does. He's got that cool look. And Rob's got that cool look that he could pull that look off too. Anyway, that's what I would think. Dash and Dennis Watkins writes, do you think Marvel is the king of Disney now? No. I still think, look, again, Marvel's only been around for a few years. Let's bring up these questions again 20, 30, 40 years from now. Disney Animation and probably even Pixar are probably still the kings of Disney. Again, ask that question again in 20 years. Maybe then it's a different answer, but for right now, it's a little bit of a Johnny come lately kind of story. So no, I don't. The bearded one writes, how long, if ever, do you see it taking to get a Creature of the Black Lagoon remake? Oh, ever? Sure. How long? It's probably not anytime soon. So I'm probably thinking at least 5 years from now, because I don't honestly sense any hunger for it right now. So I don't. And Disney's these studios are gonna be really busy. So I don't see it happening anytime soon. Ever? Yes. Anytime soon? Probably not. Wilfred Rodriguez writes, missing link, Rotten Tomatoes score 80%, didn't see that coming. I'm not surprised. Look, this is a studio that puts out quality movies. I'm not surprised. It's just that the trailers didn't do anything to entice me. There was nothing about it that looked all that appealing to me. I am not surprised in the least. When you look at the track record of the studio, I'm not surprised in the least that it's good. It didn't do anything to hook me. And I think that's why and probably why a lot of people aren't going to go see it this weekend. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all that's getting good critic reviews. Not at all. Okay, final two questions, guys, and then we got to wrap it up. Matthew O'Brien writes, the Millennium Falcon was in rough shape 40 years ago. Losing it will be like losing a major character in the Star Wars universe. Yes, it will. Will it survive Episode 9? I don't think so. Somebody asked me that about a year ago. If I think that in Episode 9, are we going to see the destruction of the Millennium Falcon? I do. And it's time. That's an old ship. I mean, that's a really old, obsolete ship. It may have been the fastest ship in the universe 40 years ago, but it is it was already old, breaking down piece of junk back in the original trilogy days, right? It's time. So yeah, I think they're going to give the Millennium Falcon a big send-off. I think we're going to have a big scene about that, and it's going to have a big send-off. All right, final question today. And then, by the way, guys, everybody from Finn Barrett, I'm upset, all the way down. Everybody else who sent it, I know we're doing a short show today because of the Star Wars announcements coming. We're doing a short show today, but do not worry, guys. Everybody who sent in a super chat question here, it will be answered in a companion video later today. Keep your eyes open later this afternoon. A companion video with all of your questions getting answered will be put up today. Keep your eyes open for that. So final question here. The bearded one writes, going to see Hellboy this Tuesday, even with the reviews being what they are. I'm still excited. And look, I don't think the movie's all that great, but there are certainly moments. There are certainly some pretty fun moments. And again, I think David Harbour was a great Hellboy. I think he did a great job. I really, really do. And I hope you have a good time, man. All right, that will do it for today's installment, shortened and early version, because we're working around the Star Wars Celebration announcement, the Star Wars Episode 9 trailer's coming. Don't forget, guys, about an hour and a half from now at 10:30 this morning Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be doing a full live breakdown video of the new Star Wars trailer and all the announcements. Come back and join us for that a little bit later. For now, go and watch the Star Wars Episode 9 live streaming panel, just like I'm about to do. Listen, guys, thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until then, bye-bye.